Hey folks, so I recently decided it was time to tile my bathroom. I needed a decent tile saw, so I went to Home Depot after reading a bunch of reviews. Picked up this Ridgid 7-inch job site tile saw, which on the surface looks to be a pretty decent saw for the price. But as you'll see, there are a couple fatal flaws, which means it's probably going back to the store. One of the biggest pluses of this saw over cheaper tile saws is also one of the source of issues. The sliding tray makes cutting a lot of different types of complicated tile cuts much easier, but because of the rail system that this saw uses, you run into issues with the width of cuts, and trying to make consistent cuts the same is almost impossible. The issue comes down to the fact that the tray has 3 sliding wheels, but at the beginning and the end of the tray, only 2 of them are actually contacting, which allows it to play side to side here and here, which means the beginning and end of your tile cuts won't be very accurate. Even with adjusting the saw and making a bunch of tweaks to try to improve the tray, you'll end up usually about a 1/16 off if you do long rip cuts. This tile was recently cut. This end it's 2 7/8, and this end a 1/16 under 2 7/8. That's not a huge difference, but when you're a perfectionist, it's enough to drive you crazy. I should point out that it is possible to make perfectly even cuts on this saw, but you have to really pay attention to how you're pushing the tray. I cut this one just after that other one with a perfect cut end to end. There are a couple hacks out there that people have used to try to fix the issue. And if you take the tray off, flip it on the other side, you can space out these rollers so that 1 or 2 is spaced out differently than the center, which puts pressure on that center roller and keeps it straight in the middle of the tracks. But as mentioned, as soon as one of the end wheels comes off the track, then you'll run into the same problems. The tray also has these adjustable cam pulleys, but all they do is adjust vertically to clamp down on the rail itself. They don't actually adjust the tray side to side at all. You'll get to a point adjusting it where the tray is so tight that it's hard to move back and forth. So in order to make the tray easy enough to slide, then you're still going to have the slop in the system. Seems like an easy fix to the design would be for Ridgid just to include rails that extend the entire length of the tray's travel. That would prevent the start and the end of the travel from wobbling like it does. To top things off, on the second use with completely clean water, the pump failed to turn on, and this water dispersion arm ended up melting into the saw blade wheel. Not exactly ideal. The pump seems to be intermittent. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Realistically, this saw is light years better than the tile saws, which don't use an overhead blade. But if you're expecting perfection out of each cut, you may want to invest in a saw that's a little more expensive.